broadcasting live out of a basement in Appleton, Wisconsin. You're tuned into Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. We're the show that gives you an opportunity to call in and be a part of the show. Our call-in line is 920-358-0795. Core.
Our next guest has appeared on this show before. She's a Nashville-based drummer, pianist, and recently has composed music for a horror film, which we're going to talk about. She played the Grand Ole Opry. We'll talk about that as well. I'd like to welcome Jenna Kopitske back to Fox Cities Core. Jenna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. As I look around, I see the Scary Canaries CD. Shout out to those guys. They're just awesome.
So you probably know a lot of the bands in the area. You've been to Nashville for a year now, but is it kind of nice to come back here, and are you kind of lining up a lot of
familiar faces? When I moved in January, I could count on one hand how many people I knew total in the whole, state and city. So, it's great to come back and see some of my favorite bands that I kind of grew up listening to and also played shows with. So they're all around here.
And you appeared on the news yesterday. Is that yesterday?
I did, yes.
And you've been on live at 5 before.
Yes.
How was it coming back? Was it a little easier?
It all panned out. So I booked my trip around. I was playing a women's ministry event at Appleton Alliance Church last evening, and I wanted to surprise my parents for Thanksgiving. So they didn't originally know I was coming, so I kind of came in late Thanksgiving Eve. Surprise, I'm here. But I did book my trip home around, certain shows, and I emailed Local 5. Mullane got back. She's like, yes, we must have you back. So I was like, okay. I emailed Heid Music to do my my show later this afternoon. I guess for anyone watching, it's 2 to 3:30 p.m. at the Appleton location, Heid Music. That's just going to be me doing my original piano compositions, some holiday tunes as well. But that's kind of my last hurrah before going back to Nashville. And but yeah, it all sort of worked. I just kind of emailed everyone in the Valley, I guess including yourself, and it all panned out. So super grateful for that.
Being a pianist, is this kind of a busy time of year where everybody all of a sudden wants to hire like a Christmas pianist?
Not so much that I've recognized. I know in Nashville it gets super, super slow because Broadway is one of the main places of revenue for musicians. I personally don't have experience playing down there. I kind of avoid it, but I know it gets super slow. If I were living here, though, I know downtown Appleton would usually call me for quite a few events. So this year's a little bit different, but I'm still happy to be drumming away with various artists down south.
I know we kind of went over this when you were on the show last time, but maybe if people haven't seen your last appearance on the show, can you tell me a little bit about like how you got into music, what inspired you to start playing, and you're very dedicated to what you, and we'll get into all this,
yes.
but you saw a goal and you've been pursuing it pretty hard.
Yes.
So how did it all start?
Okay. Some of my first memories of music go back to second, third grade. You're playing those recorders. I went to public school, so I always loved when the teachers would bring the djembes out. And they're like, Mama, Papa, and you do all these different things, and it was all fun back then, but I just would look forward to whatever, once a month that those choir teachers would bring those out. I started piano at second grade. My parents threw me in there, and I absolutely hated it. I despised it. Reading music at that age was just so complicated because you have the bass clef, the treble clef, and you got to use the pedal. And now here I am teaching, I guess, students of my own, so it's come full circle. But I eventually joined some rock bands around 6th grade, played around the Valley here, and it wasn't until the drummer broke his arm and I got a shoe-in to play a drum set. And that's kind of where my heart took over, and I thought this is definitely more my style. So I always kept up composing on the piano, but playing drums live kind of led to my interest in pursuing performance in percussion at the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh, where I graduated just this past May officially after my internship. So there I did, steel drums. I led that. I was also in orchestra, lead timpanist there, and it was great to kind of get in the world of percussion and just dive deep into so many different cultures and instruments there. So, but drum set has always just remained my favorite, and probably will be for the next while.
And it's one of those things, I think, where the first time I saw you play, you play with intensity as well. So I don't know, when you were kind of learning the drums, was there a specific artist or a band that sort of inspired you to play the way you do?
Well, anyone who knows me knows I love the Foo Fighters, Taylor Hawkins for sure. Most recently, I've really gotten into jazz with Grayson Nekrutman, and he's using my favorite drumsticks at Vader. And I got to meet him actually at Summerfest a couple years back. I was playing with Johnny T-Bird and the MPs, a band I was a long member of, and he was just walking by, and I knew he was playing with Billy Howardell. It's kind of another main reason why I wanted to go there. And he's just super nice. Greatest, I guess, one of the most humble musicians that I've come across. But I listen to him. There's Benny Greb, if you've heard of him.
I have not.
Yeah, he's German. He's got these beautiful sonar drums that I've had my eyes on for a while. But I never had, I guess, one particular person. George Winston, however, on the piano was someone who was always very, constant throughout my life. So I think playing piano, learning guitar, taught on there, singing, all that kind of incorporates into the drumming and the patterns that I create in my head. I kind of draw from all the instruments and influences I've had. So I think that the theory throughout, college too, oral skills, everyone always hated going in there and doing those singing tests, but this relative pitch that I've acquired has definitely helped, musically everywhere, and especially with the composing recently too.
What does if if people are going to get their kids into play music, what's more expensive to play, drums or keyboard?
Definitely the drums. I feel like a keyboard, a pedal will go out maybe every 4 years or something, but the drumming, you have the hardware, the seat, the pedal, the cymbals, the drum heads that need replacing, the bottom drum head, as a matter of fact. I just recently got rototoms, which are like the little mini drums that you can put on your left side. Taylor Hawkins had them. But yeah, I feel like drums, it's easier to expand than just a keyboard.
Are you a fan of Justin? Is his name Justin Fries, the new Foo Fighters?
Josh Fries.
Josh Fries. Are you a fan of his?
He and I are both endorsed under the same company, Paiste Cymbals.
Yeah, let's talk about that too. How did that happen?
That happened, that was in April of this year. I had finally met Kelly Paiste along with her daughters and Javier and, more people from their team. I was in California. I went to NAMM. So I've heard of NAMM for many years and always wanted to make my way out. And I finally did this year. I dragged my dad with me. Thanks, Dad, for paying for half of that trip. And it was really great. I got to see the band Lawrence. If you've heard of them, they're like a soul R&B powerhouse. They're just playing in the parking lot as part of the event. So it was a really great week, and I wanted to, I guess, meet them because we had been talking for maybe half a year prior to that. I know Kelly went to college with some people, my mentors here in Wisconsin, and she, I guess, had her eye on me for a little bit before then. We were friends on Facebook, and I connected with some of their team, I guess, on social media and all that, and I just, wanted to introduce myself. So as I'm walking away from their booth at NAMM, she says, no more horsing around. Let's get you signed on with us. So it was totally unexpected. I, always kind of maybe had a hope that I would get to try more of their products exclusively, but never had the intention of that happening that day. So that was in April. I signed the contract in May, and now we've just been rocking ever since. And Paiste was actually the first cymbals that I ever had when my parents surprised me with my little pearl kit when I was maybe 14. So definitely came full circle in that.
Almost when they asked, they said enough messing around or whatever, that must have felt like the ground was dropping out. Like what?
A little bit, yeah. It was great. I'll never forget it. They so her two daughters they were running the I guess the booth because Kelly, she was super busy, had meetings with people, and they had like this McDonald's bag. You want a couple McChickens? I was like, sure, man. So we walk out of there, and I called my mom, FaceTimed her, and just had the McChickens there after everything that had just went down. So
let's talk about your parents, because they are big supporters of you and still along the journey. I mean, I'm sure there's ups and downs pursuing a career in the music business.
Yeah, for sure.
And they've been there every step of the way and been supportive and haven't tried to talk you out of pursuing that path.
Not so much. I've had a couple different careers that I've wanted to do throughout my life. Something that still hasn't died away completely, but I know it just will never work, is to be a car salesperson. But I know working at a facility full time while also trying to gig and travel, and it just, I don't think it would work really so well. But I actually just bought a car also, my trip back here within the past week. So I just think it's so cool. I enjoy talking with people. I worked as a, at a, register cashier for maybe 5 years before the move when I was in high school and college. And I enjoy talking to people. I think it's so, I'm sure it's not as easy as it looks, but, just kind of doing the same process over with people again and again. I wouldn't mind that at all. So I wanted to do that for a while. I also wanted to be like the, when you go to the dentist and the person who just kind of like examines the hygienist, I guess. I remember though that the tech had like a 6-year wait to get into their like program and all that kind of thing. So that was out as well. But yeah, I guess my parents probably expected that I would come back to the drums at one point or another. But yeah, they've always been super supportive and helpful and making sacrifices in their own schedules to come to my gigs or help me invest in equipment when I was much younger earlier on. And even helping with like teardown. Sometimes gigs will end around 1 or 2 in the morning, and my mom's always there and helping break down the hardware. And I actually when I was back here in August visiting Wisconsin, and I had a gig, and the band leader was kind of like, "How old are you now?" I said, "Oh, I just turned 22." He said, "Well, why are your parents still here?" I said, "Well, they want to come." He's like, "Well, they don't need to anymore. You're old enough to get it." I said, "No, like they want to be here. They're always here." And he just said, "That's so profound. You just, don't see that as often." And I can't really count to 10 how many times they've ever missed a gig. It's few and far between.
That's great. And you did start, really young. You started playing at Appleton Rock School. Mm-hmm. How old were you? You were doing shows. You played up in Green Bay at Lambeau Field, right? Or
I did, yep.
You did some pretty cool things when you were doing that. Can you kind of tell us about how that felt to kind of play some of those gigs? And
it was great. We were formed in these little rock bands, and we were just so excited to see whatever the schedule would look like for the month. And we would just kind of travel locally, but probably from the parameters of Green Bay to maybe Kaukauna or Oshkosh or something like that. Yeah, I do remember that gig. That was crazy.
So were you right on the field for that?
We were in like the parking lot, so everyone was like tailgating, but it was just thousands of people. And I'm not too familiar. There's like another kind of restaurant or building in that parking lot. People were, like a bar or something. So we're right outside there under a tent.
It's probably just a ton of people crawling around there before a game.
Yeah, that was fun.
Well, so that probably gave you some good experience as well.
I think it all kind of bleeds together. Just being on stage, even though I was drumming and not so much in the front, speaking or singing, I just got comfortable and confident with myself and my abilities, and this is a job. This is the job that I want to pursue in life. I need to be prepared. I need to know the material. I need to know the tempos. I need to essentially be a leader as the rhythm keeper back here. Although I do feel everyone should have a sense of rhythm if they're relying on the drummer solely.
Well, some people don't listen to the drums at all.
I know. I know that. But I think just over time, kind of looking back, it all kind of makes sense. The opportunities I've had, and perhaps the growth and opportunities because of me sticking with it and wanting to be a perfectionist in some ways, especially with composing. My own music, I want it to sound a certain way, and I'll work on it as long as I need to.
Before you moved to Nashville, you put out some releases here in the Fox Cities.
I did.
You did Losing Light and Pride and Joy,
Yes.
and you put out some cool videos. I don't know, they were filmed really nicely. We talked about it last time. But,
I suppose, yep.
But you can talk about it again if you want. But I mean, when you're moving down to Nashville, well, let's not jump too far ahead. So let's talk about the releases first. You put out these original compositions, which they're beautiful if people want to check them out. And we play them a lot on Code Zero
they
Radio.
Should do that.
But as far as putting out more piano music, are you working on anything?
Yeah, so I have 5 unreleased compositions that I told myself 2023 will be the year, and then everything happened. So right now the goal is next year to get around to recording those and releasing those. So one of them I've been playing out live. It's called Ambience, but yeah, 4 other ones that are pretty new. I may showcase some of those later this afternoon at Heid Music. Why not? But I really want to add more instruments, perhaps some light percussion. I know some great string players in Nashville that I've met who do a lot of session work. And I just think having a more full sound is what I'm after this third time around.
Have you ever considered adding like one of your vocals to a track? I don't know. I've never heard you sing. Is that something you've done before?
I have. In Nashville, everyone kind of sings harmonies and backup. You have to, really. In fact, when I moved there, it was my first 3 days, I had an audition. And I don't know how many drummers they had walked through the door, but it was down to me and this other guy. And they told me that I got the job because he couldn't sing the harmonies. Or when he would sing, he would match the line of someone else. It wasn't like the harmony part. So I'm like, that's crazy. It wasn't even the drumming anymore. It was what can you do on top of that. So I can, but when I'm like the sole singer, I would just prefer to have someone else, especially being around so many professional singers. Just let one of them do it. They're better anyway. I'll stick to the piano. But that's something I've gotten into as well in Nashville is co-writing. I've never done a co-write before. I make melodies. I'm a melody maker. But I've written 2 songs now with people, and it's really interesting. I haven't done it so much, and I'm like, that's what all these people here do, But it's worked, and I'm excited to perhaps release those co-writes later in 2024 as well, and maybe pitch them for sync opportunities and get them to more listeners.
So you moved down to Nashville almost a year ago, and you were doing some work down there for a company that worked with syncing, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah, so they were actually located in New York City and Los Angeles. So I interned remotely But when I was in NAMM, I was talking about earlier in April, I did visit the office and I got to work there and meet everyone who I had been seeing online for a bit. So, yeah, Nashville's much more cheap to live in than the other two places.
Which it's still pretty expensive, isn't it? Compared to Wisconsin, maybe.
Yeah.
But so and if you don't mind, like the syncing when you're doing that, you were kind of pitching songs. Was it songs that were kind of licensed to that company to kind of pitch to movies, or how?
Sure.
How did that work?
So Primary Wave Music Publishing, they have a ton of artists. They have a ton of catalogs. So I'm trying to think. Some of the ones I worked on in the very beginning was Sister Rosetta Tharpe, African American, gospel artist from the 50s. I would work in her catalog, and Disco is a platform that I worked in most of the time. It's for music supervisors. You create playlists on there. You add all the metadata. You get it all ready to go for sending to music supervisors or editors and people like that. So I did a lot of that at Primary Wave. I'm trying to think. Whitney Houston, they own the estate for her. They even did some really cool events at the something hotel, the Hollywood or something like that. I really wanted to go to that back when I was interning with them. But Bob Marley, they also have his catalog. Gin Blossoms, Paul Anka, Disturbed. And then right as I was leaving the company, Skillet came in with the legendary Jen Ledger. I guess to answer your question, she was someone who I always admired too. And I actually even emailed her because there was this picture of me playing at the Cup of Joy years back, and the lights coming down made my hair look all purple. So I said, hey, I'm a fellow Jen who drums, and hopefully she saw that.
Did kind of working on the inside give you a different perspective on the business in general, or did it kind of give you...
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we would have company-wide meetings weekly where the finance, marketing, royalties, and streaming departments would all share everything that they're doing for the week, things that they've achieved, and also just analytics from everything. So it was great. I got to overhear kind of all the moving parts as a full service company.
Do you like what you learned about the music industry, or is it a little scary?
A little bit of both. It's really too bad that there's not really too much money to be made through streaming. I know everyone's sharing their artist Wrapped these days, but yeah, you really need to be in the millions to make any sort of decent revenue for streams, I feel.
It is kind of a little sad to know that we've gone that way, but that kind of puts I think a shift more to touring, which of course you joined a couple bands when you moved down to Nashville. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So Waylon Nihipali.
Glad you said it, not me.
Yeah, I've done a couple of these sorts of maybe interviews, and wasn't always said right. But Waylon, man, this goes way back. So February, I was living there about a month, and I saw that he had made a post that he needed a drummer for like a music video. And that's a big thing in Nashville. A lot of people shoot videos, a lot of people need extras, a lot of people need graphic designers. Like, there's just tons of jobs everywhere for creatives. So I commented on that post and I said, hey, like, I don't know if you found someone, but I'd like to, drum in this video. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I looked close and the post was from 2020. So I was like, there's no way there's any chance here. So I kind of just would continue to scroll and see what kind of other opportunities. There's a lot of group chats, especially on Facebook for Nashville musicians, gig finding type things. He had gotten back to me. He said, yeah, like perhaps that opportunity has been closed up for a bit. I found someone, but I'm I'm going to go on tour to Hawaii this summer, and I'm looking for a drummer for that. And I was like waiting for like the punchline, because I don't know, to be offered something like that is just...
You only commented or sent him the thing that said you're interested.
I couldn't believe it, and I was, I didn't exactly believe him at first. I thought, what? And I knew his last name was Hawaiian, but I was like, okay, tell me more about it. And he said, well, we'll have to audition you first. I said, no problem. So I sent him like a ton of videos of me playing different styles and all that kind of thing. And he said, yeah, we're going to go and we're going to play in Walla Walla, Washington, and we're going to go to Las Vegas, and then we're going to fly over to the islands for maybe 5 weeks, and we're going to come back, and I need a powerhouse drummer who, he said, I'm very picky with my, rhythm section as well. He said, I want them to, be able to hit super hard, and he said, even, break the heads if you need. He said, I just want someone who will take care of that department for me. So we had been talking for quite a few months there, and, I helped him find the rest of the band. He had moved from Hawaii about 2 years ago, so he primarily records in Nashville at the studios, and also uses it as a place to find country musicians to take with him where he tours. I just couldn't believe it. So that's kind of how I met him, and we started talking.
Well, I'm guessing you did some homework on him right after that instead of listening to his music and trying to learn all the songs.
Yeah, we had been talking for quite a few months, and met up a few times and all that thing. So definitely felt like the right.
You were on the news with him in Nashville, weren't you?
I was. That was so nice of him. He was like, Jenna, I'm gonna be on the news. Like, I want to tell everyone that you're like my band leader and drummer.
That was really cool to see that.
It was, yeah. What a guy.
And obviously handled it like a pro. You looked very calm and collected.
Yeah, I suppose,
So were you nervous?
No. Well, I knew that it was all going to be about him, and I would have like maybe 20 seconds to answer whatever question it was. I think it was like, how did you connect with him? So pretty much what I just said here, just maybe a shorter version, but...
Chris McRae said, way to go, Jenna.
Oh. Oh, thank you.
So you also drummed in another project as well. Like, I don't know if you're still drumming in that project. It was... let me find it. Madison Wolfe, is that right?
Yeah, so that was the band I was talking about with the auditioning with the drummer and the harmonies and all that. So the thing about Nashville is a lot of artists will play in rounds. So that's where everyone's kind of on, the high chair, and you kind of just have an acoustic guitar or a piano, and you just kind of go in a line maybe 3 or 4 times in the hour, and then you play for like tips. A lot of lead singers in bands will do that. And she kind of strayed more toward that path than full band. So I've done a couple shows with her. I guess it was maybe a little disappointing. It's not exactly what I thought it was going to be, because I know I'd posted about that. I was super excited. And her music's great too. I'm still, in contact with her and stuff. She's got a dad. Oh, what's the band name? In Milwaukee here. Oh, there's a really unique name. But I know he was trying to get her into Summerfest, and I believe she actually did go and do that solo. But I know she's happy for me and the things that I've accomplished. And, likewise, if she ever decides to get, into more full band shows. But that's kind of what happens with a lot of singers, I've noticed, because rounds happen like day till night at like almost all the venues. So it's a great place to get, or a great way to get booked more often. But I have drummed with probably maybe 20, 25 artists this year. Just they call me up and say, hey, I heard about you, come play with me at at this date. But then they call you back, because if you do good, so I have a list on my phone of just all the people I've played with. Kirsty Krause is another one. She is from Madison, Wisconsin, I believe, and she's doing so much. So it's great to kind of see Wisconsinites down in Nashville doing the thing.
When you're looking for projects to play in, are you open to like trying new styles? And what was the furthest out of your comfort zone that you've gotten playing with another artist?
I wouldn't say it's out of the comfort zone, but something I'm definitely working on right now is with Waylon. He's got some songs that have more reggae, and I guess that's something Hawaiian style that I have never really done before, that those rototoms they're gonna fit in nicely when I bring those with us to the tour coming up. But I guess it's a lot of country, a lot of rock too, which I'm happy about.
Where are some of the places that you're going to go on the tour? Do you know?
I do. So we're leaving the week of, or the third week, like the 20th, and we're gonna be going to the Grand Ole Opry, which is where we played on the last tour, 29th and 30th, in the Crown Room. It's a really nice resort on Big Island in Hilo. And then I should know this. He just posted. What happened was, Maui, the whole catastrophe of everything that happened there. That's gonna be really hard to fly back there and perhaps see the people living there and how it's affected them, and all the rebuilding that has to be done. I'm super grateful that we weren't, I guess, maybe trapped in that situation, because we had been in Lahaina for 2 weeks, and then we flew back to the mainland, and then the fire happened, so we were like literally right there. And that totally could have been us trapped in that situation, not being able to, leave on a plane. So we are playing January 5th at a newer venue in Maui. And then we're also playing at Maunalani. That is going to be Big Island as well. And he's trying to book some more things in Vegas too, perhaps on the way back.
When I hear you talking about like touring and flying, I just picture you staying in these really nice hotels and all this nice catered food and limos. But what's the reality? Is that close to home?
For Waylon, yes, I would say he took it upon himself to self-finance, throw himself out there. It was his first tour when we had gone back in June. But a lot of it's just negotiations too. If a venue won't pay for your flight or your hotel, is it worth taking? So he makes sure that we're all very much well taken care of, and we thank him for that.
I'm gonna cut in here. I don't know if this is gonna work or not. I'll try it. It's probably not gonna work.
With their song Stones Throw. My name is John Jordan, and multi-instrumentalist Jenna Kopitske is coming back to Appleton from her current residency in Nashville and hosting a special holiday event at Heid Music in downtown Appleton today, starting at 2 o'clock. The event is going to be located in the piano gallery. She's going to be doing some of her original piano compositions, sprinkled in with some holiday covers. Here's one of those originals from Jenna, called appropriately Streets of Appleton on WAPL Homebrewed Radio.
Is it still a good feeling to hear yourself on the radio? It's got to be like still a nice, fresh kind of excitement to hear that.
I'm so glad you did that, because I told my mom, I was like, crap, I'm doing this, and now that's happening. So like, can you like somehow record? Because I know how they like introduce beforehand.
Yeah, well, that's.
But I'm so glad he mentioned that event. I was like, I'm hoping, because, still trying to promote that, even though it's this afternoon. But I do wish I could maybe re-record some of those.
You feeling like you're hearing things in there that you would have changed?
All the time, yeah. Cascade, though, I am pretty happy with that one. That is, I don't know how, because I had originally recorded everything at the university, Oshkosh at the time, and time is money, honestly, and taking up people's time to redo sections and all that. But I don't know. I just think my ear is, changing and open to new things and concepts all the time, which I'm grateful for. I would never want to just be stuck thinking, oh, this is great, or I'm so proud of that. I have new ideas and ways I would, produce things. So I guess there's always something you could change. But overall, pretty happy with the EP and everything. Just, Still
good to hear
man,
songs
I should have elongated that pedal or done a trill in the right hand, things like that.
I want to, thank, John Jordan for doing the Homebrewed show. That's pretty awesome. And I know it's on the same time as this show, but, it's the whole community here in the Fox Cities, and compared
to that.
Compared to Nashville, I mean, they've obviously the whole city is made up of musicians, or a good portion. Do you feel that they've got enough stuff down there as well, where it's a community, or is it more cutthroat with just?
For sure, yeah,
awesome,
overwhelming feeling of community, and I know that I'm playing with an artist. Her name is Jay Rin. We're gonna be at a TV station in Knoxville in January sometime. She also has some of her songs played on some radio station in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which is pretty close to Nashville compared to the whole state. Also the TV station I was on with Waylon. So I guess there are opportunities to, have all this too. There's this thing called the Nashville sign that people always want to, get their picture or EP up on there. So there's opportunities, I guess, for all that. But yeah, it's great. Everyone is so welcoming and supportive. And I was quite scared, honestly, to just kind of uproot my life and go down there and leave everything I had going for myself, all the bands and the income. I'm like, what am I doing? But, I think taking those risks is just, maybe what I needed to maybe find a new sense of, this is real, that I need to, commit even harder to what I'm doing. And, I've always been a perfectionist in some way. And, I don't quit. That's one thing for sure.
You had played drums with an all-girl Beatles band, Penny Lane. Was that a one-off thing?
That was awesome. Yes. So my roommate and super good friend, hi Sammy Joe, if you're watching this. If you're not, I may make you later. I just moved in with her. She had this round, Sam's Jams. It happens every Tuesday at the Virgin Hotels. This is in Nashville, and she booked her all-female Beatles band, Penny Lane, and her drummer was sick. And the night before, she's like, "Hey, Jenna, can you learn 2 hours of these songs?" And I actually had a show. I bought a ticket to see a show that night. I'm like, I don't even have the night available, but I'm like, sure. So we listened to all the 28 songs. And then the second time through, I played them with her. She plays bass. And I don't know how we pulled that off. The parts themselves aren't complicated, but at the same time they are.
Well, I saw you
I guess it was a challenge in a way.
I saw you go live on Facebook, and you're playing Lady Madonna, and that does not look easy to me.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I was so inspired to learn that one. But on drums specifically, they have, what was that song, We Can Work It Out, where they got the tambourine, and then Birthday's another one, and it's Ringo, come on, man. But, being left-handed, the fills, they make so much sense, because you hear them, and some of them are kind of, funky, but the way he played, it makes so much sense. It was super fun, and I know I'm on their, sub list now, so... Woo! That's what I mean. If you impress people, it's easy money. You just don't know when they'll call you back.
And then you composed music for a horror film.
That's right.
That's
right.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's called Pure Evil and written by Walter
J. Buck. Yep.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So we were being extras in a music video shoot for Creed Fisher. He's an artist, and we were kind of waiting around all day for our 6-second scene, So we just got to talking. I said, well, what do you do, man? And he said, well, I'm a professional actor. I was like, no way. And he's acted in Ghosted, Creed 3, Blue Beetle, and some others. I thought, wow, like, he's not kidding. So got to talking with him, and he said, I'm writing my first short film. And then he said, need music for it. And I said, oh, well, I can help you find a composer. He said, no, I want you to be the one to do it. And I told him, I said, this is what I've always wanted to do, to compose for Disney or Sony or Pixar or any of those, that's the goal. Besides drumming, that's the honest goal. And I just told him that, I have done short films before, but just piano. Like, he was asking for strings and, like, heavy, like, dramatic sounds and all that kind of thing. And I said, I'm totally open. I'm not saying no, but I'm just like, are you sure? He's like, yes, I'm positive. So he had a lot of trust in me, and that was really important. So I worked with a guy named John Panero. He owns Perfect Image Recording Studio in Nashville. So he kind of helped engineer and mix the piece as I was sitting there and playing it. And it's great because you can just throw the movie into Pro Tools, and as you're watching it, you can layer the parts in there. So we're in post-production for that now. They're just finishing, ducking and doing all the things. But they're having an upcoming screening in Baxter, Tennessee, in the house that it was actually shot in. So that's, super cool.
So when you're doing that process, you said you have the movie in Pro Tools and you're watching it. Did you watch a finished version without the music in it first?
Yeah, so usually music is, even at the movies, music's the last in the credits. It's the last thing you do.
And it can really change the feeling of the movie, the film.
Well, it was super weird watching it without any sound. It was, challenging in a way. But
being a horror movie, did you think to yourself, well, this typically you've got to get the really low kind of creepy notes in there?
I watched a ton of, horror movies in the weeks leading up to it to get maybe just some not really to copy anything, but just inspiration for, creepy sounds and all that. I had a lot of ideas, though. But fun fact, I didn't have I still don't. My parents are, with the car I just got, we're going to get my Clavinova, my Yamaha, down there. It's super, super heavy, and it didn't fit in my vehicle. Now it fits in the new one. But I didn't have, a piano or anything. I haven't, all year. So in preparing for this film, I actually wasn't, planning things out. The moment I got in the studio, the first hour, I was composing on the spot, watching it. I had ideas for, themes and things like that, but the bulk of it was done right then and there. So I'm just thinking, the next time I get to do this, actually having preparation and parts and, that will be so much easier.
Are you happy with how it turned out?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's going to be something that hopefully leads on to other projects in that nature. Some people at Belmont University have reached out, and they're like, we've seen the social media posts, I'm doing a short film, I want you to compose for that in 2024. So I'm like, yes. You did a trip to Italy, the Italy festival trip.
That's right.
Can you tell me about that?
That was crazy. So the last time I was visiting Wisconsin in August, I may be halfway through the trip and the phone rings, and it's this girl, Lauren Freebird.
It's an interesting name.
Mm-hmm. It's actually Kleberg. Sorry I gave you away, Lauren. But yeah, Lauren Freebird calls me up, and she's like, hey, so pretty much I am running this festival. It's in Italy this time around. And we have 5 artists, and we need a drummer for the house band that will play for all 5 artists. In their time, 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. in Italian time, which there are like 7 hours difference. And they're like, there's about 68 songs, and we're rehearsing back in Nashville in 2 weeks. Can you do it? And I was like, yes. So that's kind of how I spent the rest of my trip. Here, a friend of mine lent me his equipment, and I started drumming away, and like just, I don't know how many hours each day it was after that. My parents were like, well, there goes all of our time to spend with you. We're learning these songs. But yeah, and it was incredible when we got there. The food, the wine, I mean, it was all so very good. The hospitality too, the people who, ran this festival, and they have plans of continuing on with, it was the first annual actually.
So you might do this again.
I might. We'll see if they call me back and all that, but that was incredible.
Well, it sounds like you're really good under pressure, because 2 weeks for that, and then you've got the Penny Lane band thing, the movie score.
I don't know. I really, yeah.
You must work well under pressure.
Maybe. Something I remember being in like grade school during like conferences. I don't know what, maybe it was 4th grade. I don't quite remember. But I remember one of the teachers told my parents this, and they told me, they said that the easy things you don't really do well, you don't really understand. But like the complicated concepts and things, you're spot on. So I don't know, maybe it was like math or something. They're like all the things that the majority of the class, gets like the A's on, like you don't really catch on, but the harder things, they're like, you're just like the kind of the opposite. So I kind of embraced that, the opposite.
We got a great question here from Brenda. She wants to know, do you play barefoot, or is there a special pair of shoes that you like?
Is this Brenda Tim?
Close. Brenda Minter. You're off by like 3 letters.
I'm trying to see. I can't see the picture, because I did. Well,
is this a recent conversation that you've had?
No. I played. What was it, the Fox Valley? She was in the percussion section with me at the Tech. Like a year or so ago. What was...
Do you play barefoot, or is there a special pair of shoes that you like?
I do not have a special pair of shoes. In fact, during the Penny Lane gig, I played in Doc Martens. Appleton Alliance last night, I played in Doc Martens. I just make it work, Usually, though, I have just the standard Vans, the checkered Vans. Those are just, easy slip-ons. But no... Definitely don't like to play barefoot or in socks or anything. Usually a shoe for sure, even like in the house. That's
a good question. I mean, some people you do see play barefoot, and I always wonder how that feels on the bass pedal.
I know some, yeah. Well, it's like, what do you do when you're at a venue then? Like, you just gotta rip them off? Like, I just feel like that would just maybe not look quite right.
Well, so you've got the show coming up later today, which people should check out. Like,
excited.
Heid Music, they did a great, I don't know what you call it, a vignette or something, a short video featuring you. Was it about a year ago?
They did, yeah. So there's 75 years of being around. Let's think now. That was, I guess a year when I filmed that. That was really special. They have had multiple artist features, but I guess I was maybe the first or one of the first. And they wanted me to kind of, tell my story. But I have a special, I guess, connection to Heid Music, and I talked about it in the video. I used to take piano lessons there. I teach the Rock U camp. I think I've done it for 3 years now. This past time was my 3rd time doing that. And yeah, the Heids are just super great. I also loved seeing George Winston play piano and do events there, so I'm just like, I can't believe that I'm like doing the same thing that he was doing at that place.
And that's from 2 to 3:30 today. And if people don't know where Heid Music is, it's right on College Avenue.
That's right.
308 East College, if you're looking at block numbers.
That's right.
Do people need tickets for this?
Nope.
They can just show
it's
up
all free.
and.
Yep.
Wow. People love free, so you have no excuse not to go.
No excuses.
And you said you're going to be playing a mix of Christmas songs and original?
Yeah, mostly original. There's the occasional Christmas tune that everyone will enjoy. But I, don't get to play my original music in Nashville as much, just on piano. I have done a couple like hotel kind of things, but here's kind of where I guess most of the following and appreciation is for my piano music specifically. So that's kind of why I wanted to do that.
What's the next phase in your career? Are you currently looking for?
I want to keep climbing higher arenas. That's kind of maybe my next goal in the next 3 years, is to start playing for artists who, I guess still travel the world and all that, but to reach higher audiences.
And hopefully put out that next release too.
Oh, that's right.
That would be good.
Gotta find time.
Yeah, that's the thing. So you're constantly looking for, a gig to play, and touring can be kind of off and on, right? You might go on a week tour, a couple days, a month, 3 months, who knows? But do you find that unpredictability to be something that makes you want to stay in the business? I mean, if it continues to stay unpredictable, like if you're going from, touring here, and then it doesn't make it hard, I guess, to
It does.
because you can't really say yes to some things.
Who was it? It was my lesson student and his parents, and they're like, well, what's next year look like for you? And I said, I really couldn't tell you. I could tell you what a couple months look like, but piecing that all together is always a little complicated, because you just, you never know. But
you might get
I definitely have some plans with certain artists. I guess it'll all be announced sooner than later.
And people should follow you on Facebook. You've got a great website.
They should do that.
You do go live quite a bit, which I like, and you'll play. I like when you're playing the piano. You did one a few days ago where you're playing the drums.
Yeah.
Which it's good stuff. And if people do want to follow you, do you have a specific place that they should go to follow you at?
Sure. I think Facebook's probably the one I'm most consistent with. If maybe you're part of the younger crowd and you have Instagram still, I post on my story there. The handle on both would be Jenna Kopitske Music. And then my website, jennakopitske.com, is kind of just a little bit more about me. Has my resumes on there if anyone needs to hire me for something. My bio, more photos and stuff. Just kind of everything in one place.
I just threw your website up there so people can check it out. But
nice.
Jen, I want to thank you for joining us here again on Fox Cities Core.
Well, thanks for having me again.
It's really great to see you again. I know that we tried to meet up last February in Nashville, but that didn't work out. But it's great to see you, and I love it when you come to the area. Hopefully you're back through here with like a touring act playing at arena.
Oh, yeah.
Any parting words?
Any parting words? Don't drink day-old coffee.